Good afternoon, students. My name is Moemedi Senwelo. I'm the author of Success is a Choice, How to Improve Your Results and Excel Academically. Today, I'm going to be talking to you on how to write an effective study timetable. But before I get into today's presentation, I wanted to find out from you how many of you have a study timetable. And then if you have a study timetable, you can keep your hands raised if you follow your study timetable. Those who have it and follow it. You see the difference? Okay, thank you. We had 10 out of 10 of you having a study timetable. And then we had only 4 out of 10 following the study timetable. So it's common that you write a timetable every year when you're a student and you follow it for the first 3 days. Afterwards, you stop following it, you lose the motivation to continue studying according to the timetable. And sometimes you completely stop studying at all. So we are going to look at that and see why is it the case? Why do you start with so much energy? You know, the first 2-3 days you have the motivation, you follow your timetable, you do everything accordingly. And then after some days you just give up and you completely give up on the habit of studying. There's a quote I want to give to you. It says, successful people do daily what failures do occasionally. Successful people do daily what failures do occasionally. If you want to succeed as a student, if you want to pass, if you want to excel, you have to form some habits. You have to form routines. Success comes as a result of forming routines and habits. That is why when you try to study for a day, you studied for a day, you studied for 2 days, you studied for 3 days, following your timetable. And then after that, you stop and you completely forget about that timetable. You know it's there somewhere, but you don't follow it anymore. Why? Because you have other habits. Other habits could have been watching TV or using your phone on social media, Facebook and WhatsApp. So those are the other habits that you have built over a long period of time, that you are used to, that you don't have to take any effort to do them. But now when you have to change your habits and become a person who studies, a person who is learning, it's a new habit, which means it has to replace the old habit. And the old habit is already part of you. You are used to watching television. You are used to watching series. You are used to watching soaps. You are used to watching football. You are used to sleeping all the time. When you get home, you just sleep and you sleep. You wake up the following morning. You only wake up when they bring food. Then after that, you eat and you sleep. So if you are used to some habits and you are bringing a new habit of what? Of studying, a new habit of following a timetable, it's not going to be that easy. That's why 6 of you were able to start, and then on the way you give up, on the way you stop, and the timetable is still there. And it's not like there's something wrong with the timetable, just that you couldn't beat the old habit to replace it with a new habit. The habit that we are talking about is the habit of studying, to replace the habit of watching TV, the habit of using social media, the habit of sleeping. So the question is, why should you have a study timetable? Why can't I just study what I want to study when I want to study it? Or why can't we be spontaneous? That's the way to go. If you feel like doing English today, you do English. If you feel like doing maths today, you do maths. If you feel like doing agriculture, you do agriculture. If you feel like doing science, you do science. You don't have a guide to say, Monday, I'm studying this and this. Tuesday, I'm studying this and this. Why can't we be random? Why can't we be haphazard? Why can't we be spontaneous? That one sounds more interesting to say. Hey guys, I'm spontaneous. When I feel like doing maths, I do maths. If I don't feel maths, I do science. If I don't feel science, I do agriculture. You know, it sounds like you are in control, and you know you have control over your schedule. For many of us, we don't have the discipline to study out of our own and to be consistent. You know, you can agree with yourself and say, okay, I'm going to be studying every day at 6 in the evening, and then at 6 maybe you are watching TV or you are still on your phone, or sometimes you can hold your phone. The time that you put your books on the table, you closed yourself in the room and you are starting to study, but here is your phone, you are holding your phone. and you are busy going to Facebook or watching people's statuses, you leave their statuses, you exhaust them until there's no new status that you haven't reviewed. Then you go to Facebook, you scroll, there's nothing interesting in Facebook, but you keep on scrolling. And an hour goes. Time gets to 7 p.m. and you started at 6. You've just been holding your phone and you haven't even touched and maybe just opened the first page of the book, but you were busy on your phone the whole time. So study timetables help you to enforce discipline on yourself, to say, okay, can this thing help me to form a new habit? And later on, I'll tell you how to make sure that, if you can't be disciplined enough, what can you do to make sure that you follow your timetable? Because if you can follow your timetable and you do a routine, you're going to be successful. You remember the quote I said? I said, successful people do daily what failures do occasionally. Failures only read when there's an exam coming next week. They only read the day before an exam. That's what a failure does. He only reads when the exam is tomorrow. Then today they're going to be busy reading. If there's no exam tomorrow, they are not going to be reading. They are free. I'm free. When exam finishes, when test finishes, the guy celebrates or the girl celebrates and says, I'm free. And they're going to go and watch TV the whole time or be on their social media the whole time. But with successful people, they study. An exam that is coming in 6 months or in 3 months, you prepare for it now. You prepare when there's a lot of time ahead of you. You don't wait the night before. That's when you are studying. Or the morning, you wake up early in the morning and the exam is at 8 and you are trying to study for that exam. So a timetable will help you to be able to prepare on time, to know that you don't only study when exam is coming tomorrow, when a test is coming tomorrow. That's when you start to study. You study any day. You are always ready. Will Smith says, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. If you stay ready, you'll always be ready. If an exam comes tomorrow, you should be ready to write it. As long as it's what you are taught, you should be able to write it. If your test comes tomorrow, what you are taught, you should be able to write it. So timetables will help you to always be ready. Not for you to wait until the last day before an exam. The night before an exam, and that's when you are starting. So we are going to look at tips on how to write an effective timetable. Number 1, give each subject 30 to 40 minutes in your study timetable. Give each subject 30 to 40 minutes in your study timetable. So you give each subject 30 to 40 minutes in your study timetable. Yeah, you are likely to lose your concentration, right? So brains or minds, they have a concentration span. You can only concentrate for a certain period of time. You can only focus for a certain period of time. That is why your lessons have a period. Like you'll have a period, to say period 1 of a lesson, and it's 40 minutes. So in that 40 minutes, you have your maximum focus. You have your concentration span at its peak. So during that period, you can focus, you can learn, you can not miss anything that the teacher is teaching, right? But then beyond that, you need to give your brain a break so that you can start all over again. You can have a fresh 40 minutes again. So tip number 2 is have a 10 to 15 minutes break in between your study sessions. If you start, for example, let's say you start revising agriculture. So you say, okay, I'm going to start with agriculture. The first 40 minutes, I'm doing agriculture. After 40 minutes, you take a 10 minutes or a 15 minutes break. You refresh. You can walk, you can jog, you can go and swim, you can do something that is different, or take a shower. You can do something that is completely different from learning. That doesn't engage your mind. It engages your other parts of the, like walking, jogging, swimming, showering, all those, or cycling. If you have a bike, you can just cycle around and come back for 10 or 15 minutes. Then you come back to your study room and you start again. If you are continuing with the same subject, you just continue for another 30 to 40 minutes and you take a break again. If you are doing a different subjects, you open another subject, you do it for 30 to 40 minutes and you take a break. So you keep on doing those intervals, 30 to 40 minutes of study and 10 to 15 minutes of break. Then it will help you. Every time you come back, your memory comes renewed, refreshed, and able to absorb as much content as you can, as much information as you can, and you are able to be able to learn, to study and to remember something that you can use in the exam. And then the third one, number 3 tip is make sure that your timetable include chores. Make sure that your timetable include chores. You might be expected to do chores like cooking, washing, cleaning the house, babysitting your siblings. Make sure that when you get home, if you get home at 5, you know from 5 until 7, I'm going to be doing the chores. If you have to wash your uniform every day, or you have to iron, you have to polish your shoes, all those are chores. So you can schedule them to say from 5 until 6. When I get home, I start dealing with all the chores. I do all the chores and I finish them, so that when everybody comes home, they know that I have done my part and I can focus on learning. And also that time when you are doing your chores is going to give you a chance to refresh, because you are from school, you spend the whole day learning, you spend the whole day doing homeworks and assignments and exercises at school. So you need to refresh. So that those 2 hours of doing chores are going to help you to refresh your mind. And then by the time you start, maybe you can take a shower first, take a hot bath. Then when you start, you say, I'm going to start at 8 p.m. When you start at 8 p.m., you start on a fresh mind. You learn, maybe you say, I'm going to learn for 2 hours between 8 and 10 p.m. You learn for those 2 hours. You pick 2 subjects and you learn them 40 minutes intervals in between until you are done. As you repeat this habit over and over again, you'll start seeing improvement in your results. The moment you write your end of test, your end of month test, you write your end of term exams, you write the quizzes in school, you'll see an improvement, because you are starting to learn, you are starting to understand what you come to school for, as you give yourself time to study. And even forming the habit of following a timetable doesn't become too hard, because now there's focus. It's unlike when you don't deal with your chores first. You can be called and said, it's your turn to cook. And you have to leave your books and go and cook. When you come back from cooking, you are tired. You can't even study because you didn't divide your time correctly. Let's go for the tip number 4. Always start with your least favorite subjects. Always start with your least favorite subjects. Like some of you don't like Setswana, right? Or you don't enjoy Setswana. Is it true or false? It's true. You don't enjoy Setswana. So if you don't enjoy Setswana, Setswana is going to form part of your results anyway. Whether you don't like it or you like it, it's going to form part of your results. So you don't have a choice. You have to pass it anyway. Because even for you, being Form 3 students, it forms part of your best 6 subjects. You can't avoid it. As long as you are doing it, you can't avoid it. So what do? When you start studying, you start with your least favorite subject. When you are still having the most concentration, that's when you can go through all those Setswana topics and make sure that you understand them, you master them. And by the time you are getting tired, you are getting lazy, you pick your favorite subject. That's when you start doing your favorite subject, and it will pick up your energy, and it will pick up even your focus. So you start with your least favorite subjects, and then you close with your favorite subjects, so that you maintain the same level of energy throughout your study time. Then tip number 5, make sure to schedule each subject at least once a week. Make sure to schedule each subject at least once a week, just once a week. You don't like Setswana, we understand. You don't like agriculture, we understand. Or you don't like social studies, we understand. But at least just give it one day, just one day in a week, that you're going to study Setswana, you're going to study social studies, you're going to study English. Some of you will say, English is very simple for me. Yet, then you don't give it a chance, and some of the questions will come out and you are not able to answer them effectively because you don't study English. Give it one day, like just one day in a week, where you are going to study it, where you're going to learn what is in paper 1, what is in paper 2, what is in paper 3, what is in paper, and try to get your mind to be sure that if I'm to be given a paper 2, I can write a very good composition. If I'm to be given a paper 1, those multiple choice questions, I'm going to get them right. So you give yourself that practice. You practice, really. Setting a study timetable with every subject, it allows you to practice every subject. Studying really is practicing. You are practicing what you learned. Just like in football, people who do football, they practice. They practice over and over again. Even when they are professionals, they are top, they still practice. Not because you are passing the subject. You are passing the subject. Yes, you are passing it, but you have to practice it so that you continue passing, you continue excelling in it. But if you stop, you are going to go down. You're going to go from 90, you go to 80, then you go to 70 because you have stopped learning that subject. You have stopped practicing that subject. Even with football players, if they stop practicing, they say, I'm Ronaldo, I'm very good, I can't be practicing. I'm Messi, I can't be practicing. They will start going down and down. Even artists, even your favorite artists, they practice all those dance moves that they always do in their videos. They practice them. They don't just make them when a day before they shoot a video. They can take 3 months just practicing dance moves. They hire a choreographist, someone who teaches them those dance moves, and they spend weeks and even months learning just for one thing. So something that will just take, a video takes about 3 minutes, 4 minutes. They'll practice 3 months just to shoot a 3 minutes video. And when it comes out, we all like it. We all like those moves, and we try to dance them, and we fail to dance because those guys, they took 3 months to learn. You can't learn them from just watching the video once. So everything really in life takes practice. Everything takes preparation. So as a student, you need to study. Your preparation is studying. Tip number 6, don't schedule your timetable very late at night. We have this tendency of saying, okay, when I get home, I'm tired from school, so I'm going to relax. Maybe you sleep for 2 hours. When you wake up at 7, you watch your favorite soap. There will be one soap that starts from 7 and finish at 7:30, one from 7:30 to 8, one from 8 to 8:30, one from 8:30 to 9, from 9 to 9:30, 9:30 to 10, from 10 to 10:30. Then they're done for the day. And then you say, let me go and study. I'm done. I have enjoyed everything that I am there to enjoy. You have watched all your favorite soapies, and you get there. Maybe you start with your phone. You are replying your WhatsApp messages, Facebook inboxes, and everything. You are scrolling and just scrolling. There's nothing that you are really looking for. You're just scrolling to see if you'll find something interesting on your timeline. And you are seeing something interesting. You laugh out loud for an hour. Then around midnight, you open your book and you start studying. 5 or 10 minutes into studying, you have already dozed off, and you are going to wake up in the morning at 5. If at all you are a person who believes in studying late at night, what you can do, one tip that can work for you is that when you arrive, you can sleep for maybe 2 hours, 3 hours, and then wake up and study. Some people who say, okay, when I arrive in the evening, normally it's noisy at home. The TV will be on, people will be talking, so I can't concentrate. So you can use that time between maybe 6 and 9 p.m. or 6 and 10 p.m. to be sleeping. You sleep for 3 hours, 4 hours, then you wake up and you study for 2 hours or 4 hours. You know when it's quiet, when everybody's asleep, you can study that time. But if you just arrive at home and you watch TV, you stay up awake, and then you think at the end of having watched everything that is there to watch on TV and stayed up all evening, and you say you're going to study at midnight, it won't work. You'll doze off, you'll sleep, because you long wake up at 5 in the morning, you're prepared, you spend the whole day at school learning, doing homeworks, and then study time, then you traveled back to home. There's so many things that you did, and your body can't work like that, whereby you just continuously without resting. You're just doing activities and activities and activities, and you are trying to learn, because learning needs concentration. One of the things about learning, you need concentration to learn. Last one, number 7, it answers, if you have a challenge with being disciplined to follow a study timetable, get someone to supervise you. If you have a problem with, we talked about writing a timetable, following it for 1 or 2, 3 days, then stopping. So how do you beat that? How do you become disciplined to follow a timetable? Ask someone to supervise you. You can ask your dad, you can ask your mom, you can ask your uncle, you can ask your brother, your sister, whoever, someone that you respect, someone who you know that if they say it's time to study, you are going to study. You are not going to take them easy and think, no, I'll study. Can I finish this soap first? Someone who will say no, and they shut down the TV and say, go and study. So it has to be someone that you can respect, someone that when they talk to you, you're going to listen. Not someone that your cousin, like your cousin tells you it's time to study, you are going to laugh at them and continue watching TV or busy on your phone, you know, or your young brother, your young sister. Can you take your young brother or young sister serious? Not at all. So let's find someone whom we respect, someone that can talk to us and we listen. So you have them, the one supervisor, and tell them, take away my phone. I don't want to be distracted. It's just for 2 hours. You switch it off or you put it in flight mode and you give it to them. Then you know that for that 2 hours, you will not be interrupted. And one thing I can guarantee you is that even if you are away, you are offline for 2 hours, when you come back after 2 hours, your friends will tell you, you were offline for 2 hours. Where were you? Is there an emergency? You just tell them, I was studying. You would have not missed it. My point is, you are not going to miss anything for being offline for 2 hours. The same messages that they send at 7 when you're studying or at 8 when you're studying, you will still find them at 10 p.m. when you finish studying. And you'll be able to respond to them and they'll respond to you back. If they are already asleep, they will respond in the morning. You will not lose anything for switching off your phone for 2 hours. You're not going to lose anything. But if you have it on, it's going to distract you. You're going to be busy checking your notifications, WhatsApp, checking notifications on Facebook, and you don't focus. Just one conversation, a chat, it can take you away completely from studying. You can completely forget, and 2 hours passes and you are busy. You chat with that person, you finish, you view people's statuses, you go to Facebook and you scroll and you are not looking for anything. You're just scrolling. You are trying to search for interesting posts and you keep on finding something that just keeps you. Are we together? Yes. I hope I'm talking to you guys who have Facebook and WhatsApp, because those are the main distractors. I'm sorry, Mark Zuckerberg, but those are distractors for students, really. And you can live you can abstain from them for some time to study. I'm not saying you should go and get rid of them. You just say, during this period, I'm studying, no Facebook, no WhatsApp. I will see them later. When you are done, you reward yourself by now accessing all those. And that's when now you can doze off on WhatsApp or on Facebook. And you know you have studied. There's no pressure. You are good. Come exam, come a test, come a quiz. You know what to answer. That was it from me on how to prepare an effective study timetable. Thank you.